Welcome to the Move Local podcast. Our mission is to connect the movers and shakers of the Dundas and Hamilton area who pride themselves on growing a healthier and more connected community. We will do this through having conversations around health, education, entrepreneurship, and much more. We want to be part of helping you move confident, move free, and move local. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Move Local podcast, brought to you by The Movement. My name is Dalton, and I'm coming at you guys with another episode this week. We're transitioning away from the running-related interviews that we've done the last couple of weeks, and we're transitioning into something else that I also love, which is food, and with food comes hot sauce. And I'm excited because I have Liz on the podcast today. She's one of the owners of Delusional Sauce Co. And we're going to talk all about hot sauce, and we're going to try some hot sauces. So I'm super excited to have Liz on the show. How are we doing?
Super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
How has the day been so far?
Good. It's always a bit chaotic with a 2-year-old at home, not in daycare, and running a business. So lots of free time. All the free time in the world. And sleep. I get a lot of sleep as well.
Yeah. Perfect. What does like a day like today look like you what does a day like today look like for you from a business standpoint? Like obviously we're doing this, so that factors into it. Is there other things that Monday consists of from like a business standpoint for you?
Monday is kind of like my day to get back into things from the weekend. Totally. I'm a glutton for punishment, so I like double booking us for events. So, so we had 2 events on Saturday, and so just trying to get everything ready for 2 places at the same time is a lot. So, yeah, yesterday and today kind of more just relaxing, but always sort of packing orders as they come in and getting stuff ready for shipping and just whatever kind of social media stuff is on the go as well.
It's funny because I obviously can relate like to being one of the owners here, and it's just like there's always something to do. Always. Yesterday I was doing stuff, but I think I personally like it that way, but I like to have Monday kind of as my way to like reset too. Like I work clinically a bit today, but I also like to catch up on all my other responsibilities. So it's a nice way to kind of like set the week up, and you have this like beautiful idea of like what the week's gonna look like, and then it all kind of falls apart. And
honestly, I lean into the fact that I am a hot mess. That it's chaotic every single day, so I try not to really get too into having like one thing that I really have to get done or want to get done. Because I'll never get it done.
I hear you on that one.
So I just kind of go with the flow, and whatever I get done, that's what I get done. I stay up a lot of nights, all night long. If my son doesn't sleep during the day, I don't get that 2 hours of solid work time. So he also comes with me to the kitchen.
Nice.
I think his spice tolerance is.
Yeah, he's gonna be ready to go.
He is. He's had the first 3 sauces, and he's accidentally had the ghost pepper. That he may be a psychopath because there was no reaction. So I'm not sure if it had something to do with the fact that I was drinking most of these while I was pregnant with him. Or
interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting to know.
I'm not sure if there's a correlation, but I'm going to say there is.
Well, I know that I'm going to have a problem with some of these ones.
You're going to be okay.
Before we dive into all that, I would love to hear a little bit about like the journey into like the sauce world. Has that been like your mission from the time you started getting into this thing? How did Delusional Sauce come to be, and like take us through a little bit of that story?
Well, this is definitely the last thing I thought I would ever be doing. I have an undergrad in art history and a master's in art business. I've owned my own gallery. I've lived in New York and Seattle. I've been in like project management. Before we had my son, I was the operations manager for a land development engineering firm. So we started the company when I was 7-8 months pregnant. That's why Delusional.
There it is. Cool.
That's the ringer there. So the story actually is that my partner Pat is a chef. And early 2022 was the last kind of restaurant shutdown. So the restaurant that he was working at closed down. So he didn't have a job. Nowhere was hiring. I'm super pregnant. We got to do something. Let's do I don't know, think of ideas. So we're thinking of kind of food-related, food industry ideas, like of projects that he could start working on. And he actually had been making me the first two, so OG and Tropic Tantrum, for many, many years because I'm a pretty saucy person.
Okay.
And sauce needs to be on everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say I definitely have a passion for sauce.
Yeah, you've been in the sauce game for a while.
I have, yeah, unofficially.
Yeah,
unofficially.
now you just own a sauce company.
And now it's basically just so that we don't spend all of our money on sauce.
Right.
No, it's not. So, yeah, so we kind of got rolling. He ended up getting another job after our son was born. And so I took this on while I was doing mat leave. So I never really had a full mat leave, which was fine. I like working, and working for myself is even better. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of events that we did. I had my newborn baby like strapped to my chest and like carrying boxes and putting up the tent and everything. So he's definitely my little assistant. But yeah, from there it just kind of grew. I ended up quitting my corporate job, not going back after mat leave, and now I do this full time.
Yeah. It's crazy how that time transitioned a lot of people into like new endeavors, and I think like as much as it was like a crazy time and a lot of unfortunate things happened, I think a lot of like things like this were born out of that, of like, hey, we got to pivot and like figure this out, or hey, maybe I don't love doing this exactly, I want to try something new, and that obviously led to, you know, what you guys are doing now. So I'd love to hear like the steps of like, it's different between, okay, like, you know, he's making you sauces, this is good, maybe some other people are trying them, to like, okay, let's make this a company and let's make a brand and let's actually bottle and sell this stuff. So like, how was that process, like taking that step into, okay, like we're gonna bottle this and sell it? Like,
it was hard.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know anything about anything. He obviously is in the food industry.
But like making it and distributing it is a massively different thing from my little understanding of like the space.
Correct. Yeah. So we kind of bumped around to a few different commercial kitchens, but you've got to like get licensing all taken care of, health inspections. You have to send the sauces out to get tested in a lab for pH, so to see if they're shelf stable or not. So all of that's a pretty steep learning curve, but just trying to do as much recon ahead of time, and some of it was also just learning along the way. I would say we started out in a pretty small and unofficial way. We kind of piggybacked with our friend who owns Half Baked Bagels in Niagara at her stand in the Welland Farmers Market.
Oh, cool.
So it was a very slow start. And then we started doing events a few months after that. But there was times where I was selling sauce at the farmer's market with like an Avery label and permanent marker written on the label.
So does it basically just like the process grows based off the demand of like, hey, you brought it to this market, people tried it, they like it, they buy it. You're like, okay, we're onto something, like they must like this. You try to figure out different ways to get into different events, and then you just kind of grow it from that way.
Exactly, yeah. The first year was very much, once we went to an event and we realized, okay, we could do this, people are into it, we're making a little bit of money. Then we just started applying for more and more events. Some were a really good fit, some weren't great fits, but met so many people along the way, and that's probably one of my favorite parts about doing this is all the people that we've met. So so would be like farmer markets and stuff be the early on place that you guys started finding success? Yeah, I would say definitely. I mean, the farmers market, but it was definitely the first event that we did with the Side Hustle events here in Hamilton, and it was at the Tim Hortons field. Was our first market. So yeah, it was nerve-wracking for sure. And we weren't doing samples at the time because I wasn't quite sure how to navigate that with COVID still. So
people were just buying the bottles?
They were just
based off of... Interesting. Do you think like one thing that I obviously really appreciate about your business and your brand is like the way that it looks visually. Do you think that has an impact on it? Like where people be like, hey, this looks pretty cool, like I'll buy it, or maybe it's just hot sauce people that are like into hot sauce are like, oh, here's hot sauce, I'm gonna try it. Like it's interesting.
I think it's a combination of both of those things, and then also the local aspect of it. So when
Right.
people found out that it was made in Hamilton by us, who was selling it, people really liked it.
They're like, oh, I'll support this. I'll try this.
And that's another really cool thing that we've discovered or even, you know, solidified is the community in Hamilton. And you get that, it comes through really strong. So all we would have to say is, you know, we make it here ourselves, and they'd be like, okay, we want to support you
we'll
guys.
try it out,
We'll try it out. We actually have like smaller bottles as well. So we would do like a little gift pack and we sold it for not a lot. We don't do it anymore because
but that's like kind of your way of getting samples out, right?
Absolutely. And then it was really cool a couple months after doing a few events, when you start having people recognize the brand and come back for more, to buy more. We have also like our online store, which you know, at first was like just dead.
Just there because you need one, but like you need the people to come to the online store.
Exactly,
so
exactly. So, and I mean, I'm no expert in web design or marketing or graphic design or anything. So I spent a lot of hours. I mean, I did all of the labeling and the branding and stuff myself.
Oh, wow.
Our friend, Andy, he did the spaceman illustration for us. So it was cool to kind of get him on board and have a friend do that. But everything else was just kind of trial and error. And we went through a few different kind of layouts and logos and setups and landed on this, and it seems to be a hit. So
I love it. I think it looks really great. I love the astronaut. I think, you know, to your point where people were like starting to like recognize the brand, I think like there is some value to having like a good logo, a good brand. Like I think people get that confused where it's like, oh, if you just have this beautiful logo, it's going to mean you're going to be ultimately successful in your business, which is like the farthest thing from the truth. Like in your case, like the product needs to be top notch.
Oh, 100%. Right? Like especially because there is everybody and their mother is making hot sauce.
Right.
We get a lot of people who come up and try and they're like, oh, we grow peppers and make our own hot sauce.
So I think the product always has to be top notch. But then on top of that, I think when you're talking about brand recognition is like, I could see how this would be a very identifiable brand logo. They can start making the connection between like, oh, I saw the astronaut here and I saw it here and I saw it here. And that's when it's really cool, especially I find in Hamilton with the cross pollination of community, like you see this. Like for example, I was telling you just before we started how I saw like shout out to Barry, he was on our podcast a couple weeks ago. He had it in his store and I was like, hey, I'm interviewing Liz like in like a couple weeks, right? So like
I love that
kind of stuff is super cool, and I think it happens a lot in this community. So like having something that's visually pleasing on top of like the quality, I think I'm biased to it, but I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
you. I appreciate that because, like I said, I don't have a background.
And the amount of work I know that goes into that kind of stuff, like just from having done that with us, and we had help with all of that, and just like to do all of that is like a massive undertaking, and like I don't think people really realize it when they're like, wow, that's amazing, that looks so good, how long that takes to do it. So
even just picking out, you know, the bottles and the sizing, and you know, thankfully Pat, his brain like works like that, so he's you know, he's up on finding all the best prices for produce and, you know, locating all of our supplies. So because we don't have to dive too much into the nitty gritty of it, but what people don't realize, and even for me, and the more I talk to businesses, like, well, you have to pay for this bottle and this cap and this seal, and you have to order them separately,
and the labels, and like that all has to be factored into it. So there's a lot of things that go into it, and that's why I was saying like, there's one thing to having the actual product, and then distributing the product is like a whole another game that obviously you guys have dove headfirst into.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a learning curve, but you know what? You can reprint labels, and that's what we've done.
Yeah, so. Totally. I'd love to dive into just like trying the sauces, because like when I when I was looking it up, I saw that there was 4. So is there another one that was added to? So like, give you like 4 staples.
So we have our 4. I guess 4 staple sauces, and then our miso chili crunch is for sure a staple. Okay. The staple of all staples.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll go from hot, like least hot to most hot, right?
Yes.
So that would be this one.
Yeah. So that's our OG, and that's our very, very first sauce. So Pat had been making this probably for about 8 years now for me. And we'd been bottling it and giving it to friends. Kind of the age-old story.
So for any of you not watching this, we have the bottles here. We have a chip with a sample on this. If you've been a long-time listener of Move Local, you know that we did a hot sauce interview before with Dawson's Hot Sauce way back at the start. Will and I both did it, and it was very interesting, to say the least. So we're back again. And I'm going to try the first one and see how it goes.
Hopefully cilantro doesn't taste so for you.
That's good.
Okay.
I figured I would like this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Cilantro is a very polarizing ingredient. So
I like cilantro.
Some people are really upset and offended by that.
Totally.
I always like to make sure people know it's very cilantro forward before they put it in their mouth.
This is good. And I love obviously on top of the label you guys put little things on the labels like this sauce. The sauce so good it makes you say, "Oh gee," add some pizzazz to any dish with our garlicky cilantro jalapeno hot sauce. I love it.
Do you? Okay, I wrote those too. So.
Yeah, I love it. I like this. This little stuff is really cool. And then on the side of the bottle, there's the hot level, right? It's kind of rate. This is your number 1 on the hot scale, which means it's probably lower.
Honestly, it's so.
I would say this is not I wouldn't consider this hot.
Right.
This is something that I think most people who would want a little bit of spice would be fine with something like this. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. It's so different for everybody.
I know, it's such a subjective thing.
It is absolutely the hardest part.
Because I would say my girlfriend would probably be like, "That's hot."
There are some people who try that and are nearly passing out or crying.
So what would people use something like this for, do you find? Just kind of
This is a great everyday sauce. So eggs.
That's where my mind goes.
Tacos, pizza, anything with cheese.
Yeah.
Nachos, burgers. I use it as salad dressing, mix in a little Greek yogurt.
Ooh, that's
cuts the heat a little bit, gives it a nice fresh creamy salad dressing. Do a little light blue cheese, some cucumber.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
So this next one.
Okay, so this is our newest, but we launched this in October of last year in collab with Grain and Grit.
Which, fun fact, Lindsay was the second episode on Move Local. So she was original of the Move Local family of interviews. So for you guys who have been following us along the whole time, you'll remember our interview with Lindsay at Grain and Grit.
Fantastic.
And she is fantastic. They're great over there. So
they're amazing. I started going to Grain and Grit a lot after I had my son, and there's a group called Mamaradery. You should check them out for sure if you're a mom. And they do what's called Babies and Brews at Grain and Grit, and so you just go with your baby and have a drink, and it's just nice to meet other people. So that's how I started kind of going there and got to know everybody. We did a few events there. Just connected. They're great.
Yeah,
it's a great company.
So take me through this one then. So this is made with
Grain and Grit's Invisible Friend, their American Pale Ale. This batch is less spicy than it is intended to be. That's kind of
interesting. You can definitely taste the pale ale aspect of it.
Yes. So I'm not a big beer person, but I do love Invisible Friend. So super unique sauce.
Yeah, it is unique.
Kind of an unfortunate color, but if you like beer, it definitely is.
Yeah.
But like I said, typically it's a little bit spicier, has a little bit more of a zip to it, but that's just the nature of making small batch sauces, is that there's going to be a bit of a variation between.
Yeah, and that's something I've learned from the last podcast we did with Dawson's, because they do the same thing, and he was telling me how we tried their hottest sauce, and he's like, this isn't even the hottest version that we've had, because obviously that varies. So maybe what does small batch mean then for people that might not know? That just obviously means that you make it in small
quantities. Yeah. So instead of doing it in a big steam kettle, which I don't even know how many liters are in that, but I'll say most of our batches we're making 20 liters, which in the grand scheme of things is, I would say, extra small batch.
Right.
But yeah, we just need bigger pots.
And the purpose of doing small batch would be to be able to have different the fresh ingredients. There's ingredients and that factors into it, or is it just because of the nature of you being a small company? It's just you're making small batches.
For us, it's the nature of the size of our company.
Right.
But that being said, there's a lot of sauce companies and food production companies that do. They have co-packers, so they send their sauce out to be made and then packed, and we just don't want to do that. So we're still making everything ourselves.
So to be able to do that,
in larger quantities. I'm not sure. Obviously we're growing. That's been the hardest thing is the growth. Trying to figure that out. So. Yeah, that's still part of the learning curve.
Yeah, and right? So I don't know if you've heard of Nutty Hero before by chance. Yeah. So we had them, Arjun and Courtney, on the podcast, and they're great people, and their product's great as well. And when we first interviewed them, they were they're still, I would imagine, classified as small batch, but I know that they've grown.
Their own facility
they've grown so much. So like it's been cool to see the process. Like I know they were making it in like probably their kitchen and then a small kitchen, and then now they're in this like bigger facility, what seems like, where like they have an assembly line and stuff. So it's like cool to see that.
I have definitely chatted with Arjun about their process.
Yeah, for sure. They would be good people to talk to.
Oh yeah, even if we just had like a filling machine, I don't even know what it's called. See, that's why I need Pat for the recipes and for the kitchen tool names.
Right. Yeah, you guys are a tag team.
We're a tag team. I literally fill every single bottle with a squeeze bottle.
Which is like crazy. I
am so fast at it, like a machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy.
But it'd be nice to have a machine.
And every single label, like we don't have a label,
so you
labeler.
Put in every label on there.
Yeah. So sometimes the labels aren't super straight, but they
were
put on with a lot of care.
Done with care and love, which is
and I've touched every single one.
That's the key. Now I'm excited about this one because this is the one that like catches my eye when I look at the website. Like pineapple habanero sounds like something that I would really enjoy. So
put it in your mouth.
I'm excited to try. This one is moving up in the hot level though.
Yes. This one, I always say this is like a gateway sauce because it's just the right amount of sweet, but it does have a good kick to it for a habanero. There's no added sugar in any of our sauces, so this one's fun because all of the sweetness comes from the pineapple. So really nice for grilling. The natural sugars will caramelize. Nice for marinating. It's great on tacos, pizza, burgers.
It is good. And this is where I start to actually feel like a little bit of spice.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell there's a bit of a kick.
Yeah. This one's usually a little bit past a lot of people's comfort zone, but they still go for it, and that's why I'm saying like gateway sauce.
Yeah, I could see that.
So it's going to start building up your tolerance.
Right. Yeah, and so like all of your ingredients are like gluten-free, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, except for the one we did
with the beer.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I can't make beer.
Right.
Gluten-free, but everything else is
like
gluten-free. Yeah.
Was that something you guys wanted to choose for a particular reason? To have it like all like fresh ingredients, no added sugar, like that kind of stuff?
Fresh ingredients for sure. The gluten-free and vegan kind of just happened. For the miso crunch, there is soy in it, but we switched to a gluten-free soy sauce because it's just easier to tell people that everything is gluten-free.
Right.
But then we went ahead and made a beer sauce, so.
Right. Yeah.
Of course.
But there's always going to be new things that come up.
Yeah.
That was really good. I like that.
I'm going to get you to jump to the miso crunch now.
You're guiding me, so yes. I trust you.
Take you on a flavor journey or a flight.
Oh, yeah. Immediately.
Yeah. It's addictive.
Yeah.
For sure.
That is so good.
Thank you.
What is that?
So that's our miso chili crunch. Definitely our most popular product. I can't make it fast enough, and of course it's the most.
It definitely has a little bit of. That's hot though. Like that's not.
Yeah,
it's not hot.
Yeah. So we give that a two flames, 2 out of 4 flames.
Okay.
But we've got shallots, garlic, toasted sesame. We've got the soy, miso. And then a variety of different chili flakes that we've fried off in a chili oil that we make. We are actually going to be launching shortly a chili oil. It's pretty spicy.
Ooh, nice. So what would people use that for? The miso crunch? Like what have you used it for? I
mean, short of just spooning it from the jar into my mouth, it goes on everything. Noodles, rice, fish, tofu, veggies, eggs, burgers.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, I eat a lot of chicken, so like having that with chicken would be really good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, on a burger too would be really good. Yeah. I mean, on a chip.
Oh, on a chip. I'll take just rice cakes and just put it on there for a snack.
That's also a good
Or
idea.
like avocado toast.
Yeah.
Or mix it with your cream cheese and put it on a bagel.
So it's versatile.
Super versatile, yeah.
Yeah.
And it tastes so good, you just will come up with
excuses
weird
to
ways,
use it.
weird ways to put it in things.
Spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay. I'm honestly a little scared for the next two because I'm starting to feel a little bit of heat in my mouth.
You don't even have a drink or anything.
My eyes are kind of watering. We're going to just go for it and see what happens.
Okay.
But take me through the next one.
Okay. So the next one...
Niagara Peaches.
Yes. So I am born and raised in Niagara, Font Hill. If anyone knows it. Do you?
Yeah, my girlfriend, she lived in Beamsville for a bit, and we would ride out from Beamsville to Font Hill, and I would go to a coffee shop in Font Hill. I've been there twice, and it's a really good coffee shop.
Is it the Font?
I don't remember, but I did make it out there twice.
All right. Well,
it's a cool little town. It's a cool little town.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, peaches were, obviously a big thing growing up. And also while I was pregnant, I was drinking hot sauce and eating a lot of peaches. So
I love how you did drinking hot sauce. Like, were you actually literally just drinking hot sauce?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It was
not just like...
It's kind of gross, but yeah, here we are today. So
you did it for us.
We made it out okay. We made out okay. I couldn't get things spicy enough while I was pregnant.
So does this sweetness come from the peach as well?
Correct. You got it. Yeah. So there's a little bit of sweetness up front, then it's going to be a little oaky, earthy from the bourbon. And then
that tastes so good.
You get that like nice ghost pepper flavor. The heat's going to build, and then it keeps coming back in gentle waves.
Great. I'm excited about that.
And it lingers for a good long while.
Yeah. On first bite, that was my favorite one.
Thank you. That is my favorite although I've been getting into Reaper quite a bit.
I'm getting warm, but that little bourbonness in there, very good.
Yeah, it's fun, right?
Yeah. What would you use that for? Similar, like kind of using this for all the same stuff, but like I would imagine unless you're like really into hot sauce, like you wouldn't put that on I wouldn't be putting that on my eggs in the morning, but I could.
You totally could. My dad literally has a bottle with him at all times and puts it on everything. He will just douse corn in it every meal.
I'm seeing what you're saying when it comes a little bit later. I'm starting to feel that. So remember when I did the last podcast, one thing that definitely did happen was like my face got really like warm and like kind of like cool too though at the same time. It's a little odd, and like my eyes start to water a little
cold
bit.
Sweats.
Yeah, that might be more of what was happening.
The involuntary reactions to people ingesting sauce and then watching it, because we do samples now.
Yeah. Yeah, what is that? How does that go?
It gets uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it gets really uncomfortable.
Do people get a little bit taken back by how hot it is sometimes? Like, are there people who are like, they're not expecting it to be hot and they're like, oh wow, that's way too
I
much
try
for
my
me?
very best to gauge people's reactions to the sauces that they first try. So I usually try to ask people if they want to start lower.
Right.
If my dad, who is lovingly referred to as Delusional Dad, if he is at a market, he's pretty mean about it. You've got to do the whole flight from mild to extra hot.
Yeah,
he's very he forces you.
This is really good though. Honestly, like this
you.
is my favorite one.
This one, the heat is so complex that you could even just put a drop or two in like your pasta sauce or your chili, and you still get that cool journey.
Yeah.
But it's more approachable. So that one's definitely a good one.
So the astronaut, tell me about the astronaut. I forgot to ask you about that earlier.
Oh, yeah.
What was the reasoning for the astronaut?
Honestly, Pat really likes space. And I think I was really trying to make this happen. So I thought maybe if I do like an astronaut,
he'll be in for it.
He's going to be down for it. We're going to get moving with this.
Yeah.
But then also kind of like, it's so good. It's out of this world.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah. I just imagine, for me, it's like if I had too much of a hot sauce or it was way too hot for me, I'd just be floating out in space.
Exactly.
That's kind of what
so
it
has so many different, you know, and everyone interprets it differently. So it's very open-ended, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we kind of move into trying this last one, because we really don't know what's going to happen to me after I try this chip.
Honestly, I'll tell you, I mean, I watch a lot of people eat hot sauce, so you'll be fine.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you were okay. You handled the Ghost
Makes me feel more confident.
Honestly, some people find the peach bourbon Ghost hotter than the Reaperita.
Interesting. Yeah, because like I know you said this was not very hot batch. I did not find that hot.
Yeah.
This was not as hot as I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be hotter, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that was just my own mindset because I've had a ghost pepper before.
Yeah, I think that you have.
So I'm excited to try the last one. But before we do that, I'm curious to hear a little bit more about like how you guys have ingrained yourself into the community more as the company has developed. I know you're doing like different pop-ups and stuff like that, but what has been like the mission from your end to try to like get Delusional out to more people? Because we were talking a little bit before how things have gone well and then you guys are growing, and like how has that process gone? Has it been very organic? Has it been other opportunities that have popped up? Like how has that been?
I think, I mean, it's been very organic, but just the community here in Hamilton, I mean, has kind of catapulted us to where we are now, where we're so busy. It's definitely still mostly a local demand. Although, I mean, we get a lot of messages like, are you in retail stores in this location? And we are in a few retail stores, but that's something that, you know, over the next year, our goal is to
grow. That's kind of like the next step, right?
Yeah. So right now we're only really able to stock enough for orders online and then markets that we have. And now it's getting to be market season.
I was going to say, you guys are probably headed into a busy time.
Getting really busy. I love doing the events, you know, getting out and talking to people, and it's really fun and interactive with the samples. You just meet so many great people and you end up seeing the same people around, and you get to know them just from like, oh, I remember that you don't like cilantro, but you do like my extra hot, you know what I mean? It's kind of a cool community just to do the events around town. Definitely want to start, you know, doing more like community, like give back kind of. So definitely have to think on that. Yeah. But that's kind of the goal.
Yeah, and there's so many like, be interesting to do stuff with other local businesses that are doing like that. This would fit the vibe. Like I think of, have you heard of Barrel Heart Brewing?
Yeah.
Just over here.
Yeah.
Like that immediately, I'm like, oh, this would be like the vibe. Like they kind of, you guys seem like you guys would be on a wavelength. That would make sense.
And that's the other thing is like we do markets like, you know, at Grain and Grit, and we become, you know, close with those business owners. And kind of come up with something cool together. We do have a few collabs in the works, but honestly, I mean, Pat worked full-time as a chef. This is my full-time gig, but unfortunately, I'm not the culinary mastermind, so I'm not making up recipes and test batching them.
You need help.
I need him. Yeah. Yes, we need him.
Yeah. So because there's cool. Like I even know like now that they're open over here in Dundas, like Smithers sausages with. Are you familiar with Smithers sausage? You've heard of them?
All our products are in their little shop, the Kitchen Collective.
They're amazing people.
Yeah,
well, I had them on the podcast like probably a year ago, but they do their sausages there every Thursday now. So I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Little sausage, little hot sauce, you know?
Perfect. It's perfect.
I'm just delaying me trying this chip, so we're going to try it. So what is this? What is this last one? It's the Tequila Citrus Reaper.
Yes, you got it. And I will say for like a Carolina Reaper sauce, this one's not going to blow your brains out. So.
Carolina Reaper margarita sauce, not for the faint of heart, packed with a citrus punch. This sauce will make you sweat.
This is another one that, you know, well, all of them. It depends what time of year we're getting the peppers at.
Right, that varies in terms of like level of intensity.
Yeah, and then even batch to batch, or even different farms.
Right.
So.
All right, well. Yeah.
I did have someone on Saturday try this one. A lot of people come and they just want the very hottest thing you have, which I give them. And then usually I'll get like, oh, this isn't very hot. They do a lap around.
Come back
and buy it. They're like, this is very hot.
You can definitely tell that it's something that's hot immediately when you bite it.
Yeah.
You know?
But this one's very like tart, citrusy, departure from the other sauces, which have more of like a sweet.
Yeah, I still think this is my favorite, and
yeah.
I think the blast of flavor that I got from that peach with the bourbon was like, it's right up my alley. Yeah. I think so. This one definitely not as much of that obviously sweetness flavor that you talked about. I think I like that in the bourbon one.
Yeah,
but definitely. I can test now it's starting to come into my tongue where it's getting like really hot.
Now you're turning a little bit red.
I'm turning red. I might pass out.
But you haven't started crying yet.
I know. It's not.
That's always the worst is when people cry.
Yeah.
The worst is when they cry at Miles.
You're like, this isn't for you.
Which has happened.
We're going to stop here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Do you feel bad when people cry?
100%. It's not our goal to just destroy your mouth. We want you to enjoy this. So that's why, like I said, I like to
will say, though,
ask people to start low and work their way up. And I can definitely tell by, just the first sauce you taste, like how you're going to do with the other ones. But before that, I have no idea what spice people can handle because everyone's so different. And
I think some people don't even know themselves.
No.
But that is actually still really good. And like, that's something that I would use and eat, right? Like where I remember trying the sauce from Dawson's. It was so hot. Like I don't... Like, I know that was their intention with the sauce, right? So, like,
there's some people where is it literally not hot enough?
Right. Where, like, they probably consume it like I would consume this one. Right. But for me, I was like, I wouldn't put that on anything because that is, I would put on stuff and eat. Yeah.
I've started using that more, actually. To be honest, I hadn't even tried it. Well, I had a little bit just so I could know what it tasted like, but it was too hot for me. Yeah. But within the last year, it's not.
So your favorite
too hot
is
anymore. Yeah, on the spicier end, and then OG, I just put that on everything, and the miso crunch.
And then
those are my three.
What's his?
This one for sure, and the miso crunch. And I don't know what's it, and he likes the tropic.
Is the general?
I like them all.
Yeah. But
there's a reason why there's only
a
few products here.
And is there general consensus like feedback that you get? There where people are like, or from a product sales standpoint, where you're like, oh, this seems to be the most popular one, or is it pretty varied?
I would say overall, the miso crunch has been a real ringer for us. Yeah. It's also nice because, there are a lot of other hot sauce companies. There are a lot of other companies making chili crunch. I don't know if you've heard about all the legal drama with Momofuku.
No.
Oh, you have to Google it.
I'll have to look into it. I'm not in tune with that.
It's all good. They were trying to trademark the term chili crunch and chili crisp. So they sent cease and desist letters to every single.
So did you get one of them?
No, because we're in Canada, I guess.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and we don't distribute to the States.
Okay, so you didn't get any of that.
No, yeah. I don't know if that's why, or maybe we're just not on the radar.
Yeah, you're like, we're too small batch still.
We're so small batch. But that was interesting, and you never know like if that's going to come to the States or to Canada or what. So thankfully not. But yeah, that's our most popular. And then honestly, for the sauces, it really varies from event to event.
Yeah, it makes sense. It kind of hits a different like flavor profile for many different people. Right. So you can kind of enjoy each of these sauces for the spectrum of people that you might be hitting.
Absolutely.
For sure. I could see
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, we try to have, make each sauce different enough from the last. We also really like keeping them single pepper. So you really get the full experience of how each different hot pepper like hits you,
which is kind of cool as like the consumer of like, this is like your favorite and you keep buying this one. It's like every time you get it, it's going to be like a little bit different each time, right? So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
What before we dive into some like rapid fire questions, what is like coming up for you guys? Is there anything that you're going to be at in the near future that you want to like highlight so that people can find you or go there or be there? Any markets that you're going to be at? Any ones that stand out to you?
Oh my God. Well, we're waiting to hear back from Super Crawl. We did it last year and that was like killer.
That's awesome.
But we have literally, I think every single weekend from now until Christmas, we have something.
So if you guys are looking for this sauce, you can find it at the, like,
You will literally see me all over the place this summer. Also, if there's an event at a winery or a brewery or a winery or brewery, we're there.
You're there. Do you guys ever do the Waterdown farmers market?
No, so farmers markets for us, I mean, we had our, kind of go at it at the beginning of Delusional.
Right.
For me, I think it's just better for us to be doing these kind of like one-off pop-ups all around, as opposed to a farmer's market where it's typically the same crowd coming back week after week, but you're not going to go through a bottle of sauce in a week.
Totally.
I do, but...
No, that makes sense to me.
But it's not something that you're restocking every single week. And
and you're exposing yourself to more people, new people trying your product at like these different events that you're popping up at or combining with other people on.
Exactly.
And I feel like with stuff like this, it's get this in as many people's mouths as you possibly can, and then like once they figure out how good it is, then they're going to come back and start buying the bottles and all that kind of stuff. So that makes sense.
That's the idea, right? It's just to get to as many places. We do find, like, if we do an event in London, or this weekend we have a hot sauce expo, Heat Seeker, put on by another hot sauce company, Halo Heats. Also, the hot sauce maker community is very interesting and cool. Like, everybody's down with each other. Everybody's, nice, and it's a cool.
That's good to hear.
It's a cool crowd. It's definitely a very different industry than anything I've ever been in. There's a lot of kind of camaraderie that comes with just being a sauce maker, I think, or just being able to handle really hot peppers.
Yeah, there's like some level of respect.
Yes, like a mutual respect for how hot you can go. But so we have that coming up next weekend. That's in Windsor.
Oh, Windsor. That's where I'm from.
Windsor. But then we're also going to be at So Hungry on Ottawa Street. So we actually cook our sauce out of Merck Snack Bar on Ottawa Street. Nice. So another kind of little way to contribute to
What's
the
in Windsor?
economy.
This is not going to be great for the Move Local podcast, but I'm curious to know, what is it, like an event that's going on there?
Yeah, it's just like it's a hot sauce expo.
Oh, it's an expo
in Windsor. Yeah, so there's one we go to in February in London, and then we went to one in Chatham.
Oh wow!
So I've never been. I don't know why we're going so far that way, but we're going. So cool. Divide and conquer.
Yeah, get as many miles as you can get.
Absolutely,
that's the goal.
Absolutely.
Okay, some rapid fire questions for you. What would be one of your favorite local coffee shops?
Pinch.
What is it?
Pinch.
Where's that?
Sherman and Barton.
Huh. Never heard of it.
Super kid friendly.
Okay. There's there's
lots of plants.
So
good
much coffee shops.
Like cool vibes.
Yeah.
Pinch.
Pinch. Okay. Sweet.
Or the Cannon. Like that's
great. Yeah.
Right across the street. A little bit dangerous since it's so close to where we're
and people seem to
cooking
always
all the time.
Drive their car into that.
Yeah, that's dangerous as well.
That's what I thought you were referring to.
And that
like so many
also
people drive their car
dangerous
into that
for my wallet and dangerous for
but their coffee
your
is
life.
Very good.
It is so good.
I enjoy their spot, but I will try Pinch for sure.
Pinch, you've got to do Pinch.
Favorite local brewery, or one of them. I know it's hard. I know Grain and Grit. You guys have a
Grain and Grit Collective is right near us. I would say, Fairweather's super cool.
I know. It's unfair because there's like so many good spots.
Okay, I would say, though, for me personally, drink-wise, for beer, Grain and Grit.
Okay.
And then Collective, I really like their Gin Collins.
Yeah, their gin and stuff.
I mean, I'm not one for booze in a can, like mixed drinks in a can, but that really that hits. So
sweet. One of your favorite local restaurants, or maybe one that you've just recently went to that you really enjoyed?
Well, we have a 2-year-old and a business, so we don't get out a whole lot, but Rapscallion is...
It's
like
a common...
If we're going out for dinner, I want to just...
get on this podcast.
Yeah.
And I've yet to go there, but
honestly, there's so many great restaurants in Hamilton. My pie's a banger.
Yep, had my pie. I just had cowabunga last weekend.
For the first time?
First time.
Oh, yeah. Cowabunga's great.
Great.
So Smithers has Smithers Slices now out of the Kitchen Collective on King Street. I don't know what the cross street is, but so they have pizza. They actually have a pizza that they use our miso chili crunch on. You can also buy our sauces in store there.
Amazing.
Yeah, they have really good pizza.
Okay, I did not know that.
They're not open enough.
Right.
I always want pizza on like a Monday or Tuesday, but they're open just on the weekend. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What would be one of your favorite ways to stay active?
Well, I have 2 huge dogs and a toddler, so
just lugging them around. Yeah. What kind of dogs?
We have a Cane Corso Lab and an Australian Shepherd Lab.
Oh, so like
they're both foster fails. Yeah. Yeah, lots of energy. I mean, my one dog is like 13, so yeah. But also staying active, I literally just carry sauce, like heavy boxes up and downstairs.
That's your training.
Yeah, I realized this weekend, because it's really been the first event back for the year. I mean, we've had a few kind of smattered about, but I just realized like I will be in very good shape by the end of the summer, but I am not there yet. It's been a long time since I've had to be lugging stuff around, so I'm feeling a little weak.
You got from now until Christmas, so you're good.
Yes, so I'll just be getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, there you go. The last question I always like to ask everyone is, what does like move local mean to you when you hear that term?
I mean, obviously you guys are a physio studio, so like the physical movement of it, but when I first hear the term, I think kind of move like operating local, right? Like living local, buying local, supporting small businesses, which I think that is important to people who live here. I
have found that from moving to Hamilton in 2020.
Where did you move from?
I was living in London for a while, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to start this podcast, was because I realized, like, one, there's a lot of cool small businesses here that are doing interesting things. And then I started to realize, obviously having my own small business in Dundas, like, you can get this sense of value of the small business here that maybe because I didn't have a business in other places and I wasn't maybe as invested in the small business in other places that I live, but there was a very much like a sense of like people here that want to support small business, and you could feel that. You can see it a lot too.
Absolutely. So. I have lived a lot of places in Canada and the States, and I have never lived somewhere or worked somewhere where this is the case. Yeah. And
I think Hamilton takes pride in that.
Yes,
and I think
absolutely.
Like, the small business community takes pride in it, and it's almost a filtering process in a sense, because like the small businesses here all support each other, and like there's this vibe that, for the most part, at least what I've been exposed to, there's this vibe of like positivity and supporting and
uplifting,
helping each other grow. And so I think it like filters the right people into the small businesses, into that ecosystem, because like, you know, with Grain and Grit and like with Smithers, it's like there's a certain group of people and vibe that you get from those companies that like just brings more of those people 100%. Together, right?
I feel like Hamilton's in a really cool place right now. I mean, we've only been here for 6 or 7 years. But even in that time, I feel like we've seen growth in so many different ways. Obviously COVID, a lot of businesses unfortunately have, come and gone, but I think that the city's in a really awesome place, and the people in it are just leveling it up for sure. And I feel so lucky that I get to get out into the community and just meet all these people. Yeah. But the connections that you make are genuine.
Yes.
As opposed to, I mean, I lived in New York City. The connections that you make with everyone are just very fake, like very surface, but that's not the case here at all.
Yeah, so. I would agree with that for sure from my experience as well. Awesome. I would love for you to let people know where they can find you guys on Instagram, where they can find your website, so that they can get some of the sauce.
I would love for everyone to get some of the sauce. Yeah, just get it in your mouth. So our Instagram, Facebook, all the socials are all Delusional Sauces. And then you can always order on our website. We have free local pickup in and about near Gage Park, not in Gage Park. I don't know if we'd be allowed to just be pandering there. But yeah, so we have free pickup. We also ship. And then on our website, there's also a list of our retail locations. So those are always kind of being updated. Otherwise, if you're out and about in the city in any capacity from now until Christmas, you'll probably see me or Pat around. Yeah.
Sweet. Love it. Well, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
I really enjoyed this. I love hot sauces. Definitely the big fan of the pineapple one. But yeah, I highly recommend you guys trying out these sauces. I'm excited about it. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Awesome.
Sweet. That was great.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Habanero.
That's really good. Uh-oh. Got some heat. It's starting to hit.
It's a nice heat, though.
Yeah, it's nice, but it's like...
It builds.
It builds.
A few minutes later.